Welcome to Bridging Generations in Sales and Outreach. I am your host, Butch Nicholson. And, one thing that I do know is that sales has changed, but people haven't. And buyers still want to buy from someone they know, like, and trust. The big deal is trust. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm really happy to have my really good friend, Katherine.
You can call me Kate.
We'll call her Kate for this purpose.
That's fine.
And there are three things I want to say about Kate. Number one, she is a true professional, and I'll let her share her credentials in just a minute. Number two, she really cares. She really cares about the people we work with. She works with. We don't work with any one person who she works with. And the other thing that I know about Kate is she can't talk without doing this. So just don't let that bother you while you're while we're on the show today.
It only took you 60 seconds to get to that. So congratulations. That's a new record.
So you can tell we're good friends, and we'll try to keep that out of this. So, Kate, first, just share your credentials and a little bit of what you do.
Okay. It's really great to be back here with you, Butch. Yes, we are great friends, and I, like you, will try and keep that on the down low, at least for the next 30 minutes. That being said, I am a licensed professional counselor, and I work with individuals as well as couples, specializing in anxiety, communication, depression, and also trauma therapy as well.
All right. So let's just hop right in on this trust thing. So one of the questions that came to my mind is trust a feeling, or is it a decision, or is it a feeling and a decision? How do we come to believing we trust someone?
I think it's a good question, and it's an interesting answer from where I'm sitting. It's both. And the reason I say it's both is because below our level of awareness, we are always paying attention to sensory details that will lead us to determining whether or not to trust something or not. And that ability has kept us alive for all these years. But I think that in today's society, because of our evolved brains and thinking gets into it, we tend to not pay attention to what our gut is telling us. But from a sensory standpoint, it is always scanning through what we see, what we smell, what we taste, what we touch, and what we hear. And if it determines anything is untrustworthy, it's going to tell you. So your body is going to know first before anything. But also on the flip side, cognitively, of course, trust is a decision. We make a decision whether or not we like someone or trust someone or want to do business with them. So from our awareness standpoint, we make the decision with our brain, our thinking brain. It's a choice.
I know for me, when there are people that I meet on the outsides, I can almost decide immediately, do I like this person or not?
Okay.
I believe for me, trust is a little different. And I believe the same thing happens, but it happens over a longer period of time.
Okay. I mean, that would make sense. And I can understand, a lot of us, when we come into a situation, we make a very quick determination, do I like this person or not? And that is a cognitive awareness that I don't like something about somebody, or I trust, and that's going to lead to trust. If I don't like somebody, the typical reaction would be, I'm not going to trust them. I think it's a little different with business though, because in business, I can dislike somebody, but from a business perspective, I trust that they're going to do the best job here in this scenario. But that's also a personal, you need to know kind of what it is that you need from the person, and are they going to be able to deliver that? So I think there's a personal trust, and then there's something on the flip side, the business side might be a little bit different. And true. I mean, I can like somebody a lot, but at the same time, I'm not going to trust them to walk my dog. So it's kind of it depends on the situation. But yeah, I get it.
I know I'm trying to think of the right way to make this what I want to say. What we do with our customers, and this is strictly business. This is 100% business. Is I have a good friend who just all the time says your reputation walks through the door before you do. And sales wise, we work really hard to make our clients visible to their potential buyers before they actually engage with them. And I believe that by seeing someone, by understanding their business at some level, that enables trust to be made quicker when you actually meet with that person.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that especially in business, I like what you said, your reputation walks in the door before you do. Because people talk, they go off of, we have all these ratings, online, and it matters. It makes a difference. People want to know if they can trust someone in business. Because, I mean, who wants to get screwed at the end of the day? Nobody. In a business situation, I guess. But that being said, I think it's very crucial to understand that when you are going to make a decision business-wise about whether or not you want to do business with somebody, get into that agreement, I think that doing your due diligence, find out about them. Find out what their values behind their business is. So maybe their mission statement, or asking anybody that's ever done business with them, finding out, networking, and asking people what it's like. Did they deliver? But find out what it is that their value system is. What do they promise that they will deliver? And then, and only then, will you be able to take the next step into sort of making sure that you are going to enter into a business decision with them or not. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I believe, and I'm preaching, I'm practicing what I'm preaching. In the sales world, I believe the more you can make yourself visible to your potential clients, either you're going to get a really fast no when you call on them, or you'll find them very receptive to what you have to say.
I think I mean, you're the business expert here, but I do believe that what you're describing from where I'm sitting would be, I would say this. It boils down to, do you have self-confidence behind what you are promising that you are going to deliver? And will what you are going to deliver really and truly benefit the client? Because if those two things don't match up, it's not going to go well. So having confidence in what exactly you are going to promise to them, making sure that you feel confident that you can deliver that, and then deliver it. Because if it's not a good fit, it's not a good fit, and that's not going to go very well.
Right. So what's the difference in being comfortable with someone and trusting someone? Because I believe people get those two. It's kind of convoluted, at some point that it goes from being comfortable with them to trusting them. And you may be comfortable with somebody you don't trust, as you said before.
How are you comfortable with somebody you don't trust? To me, it seems
you're the expert. You tell us.
Well, in my mind, if I trust somebody, that would then mean that I'm comfortable with them. To me, comfort and trust go hand in hand. You can't really separate the two. But in business, maybe maybe your understanding of comfort is a little bit different. What is your definition of comfort in this scenario?
I don't really, I can't tell you what the definition is, but I'll give you an example. I know that's a poor way to do it, but it's something.
Good.
I may be fine with going to play golf with you or going to a play with you,
Yeah.
but I'm not at the point where I would be comfortable giving you the key to my apartment, as you said, or walking my dog or whatever it was you said.
Yeah, I mean, okay, that makes more sense. That to me, that makes a lot of sense. So I think that in that the way you've described it just now, comfort in that situation would be there's a level of comfort, but as far as risk, then that's a different story. I can risk spending an hour or two with you. That'll be fine. But at the same time, as the risk goes up, and certainly with a business situation, it's going to go up, then it's a no-go for me. So those are the types of things. But I am telling you right now that before anything, if you will pause a minute before you go into a meeting or a situation and listen to what your gut's telling you, because you're going to have a feeling one way or another. Now, it's important also on the flip side, if you want somebody to trust you, then you need to make sure that you are confident going in, because if you're confident going in, now confidence doesn't mean you have to go in and be, come in with the ego all over the place. You don't got to walk in that way. That's just arrogance. So you want to make sure that you are confident and thinking positively about why it is that you think that you will benefit them. Because your confidence, I can promise you bar none, if it's true confidence, it will be communicated to them, because below their level of awareness, they are picking up on cues. And the area of your brain that is working in those moments is not one that reaches up here yet, until like the first decision is going to be made from the below your level of awareness. And it doesn't use words. And it just goes off of what is it sensing. And then that message will be relayed to your thinking brain. So I think that if you go in and you really are confident, you're going to be able to project that to them, and they will receive that message, I believe. And that's certainly what neuroscience plays out. You can also pick up on their body, like anything that their expressions, or definitely what their body is telling you. That takes a little bit of practice, but there are certain tells that people will give off. That's really fascinating, but it works too.
So the first year I was in sales, which was decades ago, we won't talk about how many.
Yeah, I don't do higher math, Butch.
I heard your buyers need to know, like, and trust you.
Okay.
And it always seemed to be in that order: know, like, and trust. And over my career, that has been true. People want to know who you are. It's easy today in social media. I mean, there are 14 platforms you can go on and find anybody. So you can know who you are. Now in sales, what you have to do is make sure you're getting that like out to, that no out to the buyer where they are, not where you wish they were. So for example, if I know my clients aren't on anything, if they're not on Instagram, I don't need to be on Instagram. I need to be on something else where they can see me to get to know me.
Sure. Appreciate
And then I think like is second. And I believe and we talked about it earlier, you can like somebody but not trust them. But if you get to the know, you get to the like, then you can build that trust.
Yeah.
one of the things I found is that stories. I can, if I want someone to trust, I know they know me, I know they like me, I want them to trust me. That stories is a better way to do it than facts.
I would agree with that because it personalizes it. People like to connect. We are at the very core. We need human connection. Unfortunately, today's society is making that a little bit more difficult. That because we have all the filters, we have AI, we have all these other things that take a little bit of that true connection out of it. That being said, we are creatures that need connection. And if you are giving somebody a story, there are all kinds of ways that they can feel connected to that because we've all had experiences. And when you've been through something or can relate to something that somebody else has been through or is explaining, all the better. Because then the person starts to feel and see you more, this is going to sound strange, but more human.
Mm-hmm. Well, to
So
that point, what I have found working with the people that we work with, and then reflecting and seeing this in my own experience, and I don't pronounce this. I have a hard time pronouncing this word, but the more vulnerable we can be, the better we'll be received. And one thing that I know when people are posting stuff, it's always like the very best me.
Right.
Everybody get their best clothes on and their best smile, and we'll get the best photographer.
Right.
But I found from a business standpoint, sometimes the best thing you can do is share a failure, and then what you learned from it, and then what it may have helped you last time. So from the neuroscience side, sure. Why does that? I know that works. Why does that work?
Well, I think that's a great point, and I love that point. There are a couple of different ways we can go about answering that question from a neuroscience standpoint. Number one is that comparison is always going on, and everybody screws up. We're human. The quality of being human is screwing up. And I want somebody to be human with me. You mentioned the word vulnerability, or you tried to.
I did my best.
But it's basically what that means is I'm going to show you my weakness and where I got hurt. But I'm owning that. I'm willing to do that so that you see me and you see me with my flaws, and I trust you with that. It's honesty. True confidence is the willingness to make a mistake in front of others and be okay with it. That's what true confidence is. I'm human. I made a mistake. Yeah, I'm human. I made a mistake. I own it. And people like that because we all make mistakes. And especially in today's society where we're all connected and I had mentioned before, there are filters and there's postings, and people literally, all you see nowadays is what people want you to believe about them. And it's rarely 100% honesty. I mean, if you're going off of social media, come on. And in fact, you want a little story about that is I always know what friends and or connections on social media are struggling the most in their relationships or their life, because suddenly there is just this explosion of happy pictures and all kinds of things coming about how wonderful the relationship is and how much they're in love or whatever. And then bar none, I'll get a private message and they're struggling. So people always will show you, it's like a mask. So I think that when we realize that people want you to be human, they want to know that you can screw up too, and you have the confidence to own it.
Well, I believe it. The word I'm using is a different word for the same thing that we were
Okay.
talking about. But I try to be as authentic as I can
Yeah,
in any platform somebody's going to see me in.
for
And
sure.
one thing I tell our the customers, the CEOs, the sales leaders that we work with, nobody cares that you had a great year. Nobody cares that you had a great trade show. Nobody cares that you were number 3 in the rankings. They want to know about you. And there are appropriate ways to be authentic, and uh, I don't want to say inappropriate, but there are ways that just don't work.
Less ideal. Yeah, less ideal for sure. Yeah.
And so this is the question I want to ask you from that little sermon. Uh, AI is something everybody has to deal with, regardless of what business that you're in.
Yeah.
The most inauthentic thing that there is AI. Most of the time, people let AI take over, and I can read 2 lines or hear 2 lines and know AI did it.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. Yeah.
So
And
how do we? I don't know a better way to say this, but in a business sense and in a sales sense, uh, how do we, as a buyer or a seller, uh, deal with this AI thing that's out there and it's everywhere, but we need to be authentic?
two answers to that. The first one, suck it up, Buttercup. I mean, it's just as I am one of those people, especially in what I do. Um, I am accepting AI kicking and screaming. Just it, like you can pick up on it, and I just kind of roll my eyes. And why? And I had to sit with that for a minute, though, Butch. I had to sit with, why is this really just churning my stomach? Why do I get so frustrated with it and annoyed? And I've come to the realization that when it comes to business, it's because it feels as though other people, like the true person that's sending me this, or that I'm, that it's coming from, doesn't really care about me as an individual. They're just throwing, I mean, it goes out to, that it's not me. They're not seeing who I am authentically. They're not connecting with me. They're just shoving this, like they didn't even do it. They just ran it through. So people want to know, like, goes back to the whole connection thing. We are social creatures. We want to be genuinely validated. I know that's a word that most people roll their eyes about because it's overused, especially in therapy. But truly, I don't want to be thought of as a number or just another one of the millions of people out there. I want you to see me, and I want you to be focused on me and make it personal. So I think, from the suck it up standpoint, we're in it. We are in it. Welcome to it. Get through it. But at the same time, do not, in business or anywhere, forget that human connection is what our nervous systems are looking for. And our nervous systems are always 24/7 going to be the first program running inside of your brain. And you really want to make that connection, especially in business. I'll tell you what, I recently moved, and I found every single pitfall imaginable with AI. It was the most frustrating thing. And it was with 3 separate entities or companies, because the issue I was having was one that was so unique and personal that AI hadn't figured it out yet, I guess. Oh my gosh. It really took every ounce of me not to just, honestly, it was awful. That being said, what really was the most frustrating part was that I felt as though I couldn't connect with a real human being, because it would have taken 2 minutes to solve if I could get through to a human. So please don't ever forget that your nervous systems are the first thing that matters in any situation. Pay attention to it. and realize that being confident means being willing to make a mistake and own it. And it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. Be genuine. Accept yourself first. But I think
one thing, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say that, when you're, networking is great, because if you don't know something about somebody, but you want to explore, ask around, get input from people you do know and trust, get that information, and then check out the company that you are wanting to do business with. What is their mission statement? What are their values? Because values matter in this.
Well, and I think the same thing is true for a person as a business, from what you just said, the measure you just said.
That makes sense.
All right, Kate, I appreciate what you've shared with us so far. And I have two questions to close us out here that I ask every guest. The first one is, what would Kate today tell Kate of 10 years ago?
Oh God. Hang in there, babe. No, I would actually, what would I say?
Be the subject of your next book.
What?
I said it could be the subject of your next book.
It's volume 17. I don't know. You know what? It's a great question, but honestly, to be honest, that is what I would tell her. Hang in there. You've got this. Because the one thing that I have learned over the years is that I don't necessarily know how things are going to turn out. And they may not turn out the way I think I want them to, but they will turn out. I promise. 90% of the time, it's not going to be anywhere close to what, you were thinking or fearing. And that's because of our nervous system too, by the way. But everything does work out. Calm yourself down. It'll be okay. Be open to the possibility that's going to go well. Be open to the possibility that it'll be okay.
I stole this from someone, and I don't even know who it was, so I don't have to give them credit. But I heard
if it was me, I'm
that,
going to smack you.
it may have been you. Somebody said, and I have adopted this, is in any situation, it'll work out or it'll work out.
That is absolutely a truth, and I like it. And I've
all right. Second question: do you have a life rule that you never break? And I'll give you two examples that we've had on the show. One person said, "Always do the next right thing." Another person said, "Never eat sushi from a gas station." And I think those are both good.
I think I would live by those. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a good one. So I think mine would be, it's always easier and better to be honest about when you screw up, or if you make a mistake. Put yourself in somebody else's shoes and lead with compassion. Lead with compassion. We're all human, and it speaks volumes, even in a situation where somebody is really, really angry or frustrated or upset. If you lead with compassion and acknowledge what they're going through first, it'll go much better. That's a true therapist.
Well, that's what you are. Wrapping up today, there are two takeaways I had. One would be, I believe, and I believe from what we've talked about today, trust is a feeling and a decision. And I think it's important to remember that. And the second thing I would say is, my takeaway is, in this environment, authenticity is fading and with that, the more authentic you can be, whatever your job is, sales, therapist, whatever it is, you'll always come ahead. You'll always come out ahead being authentic.
I'm telling you that yes, from a neuroscience perspective, the more authentic you can be, the more trust will be there, and the converse is true. Is also like the less authentic something feels to the nervous system or is genuinely, trust goes down, and that is because below your level of awareness. Remember, not your thinking brain, but below your level of awareness, your body is picking up on that and it's not trusting it, and it will steer you away from it every time.
Great. I appreciate you being here today. If you want to get in contact with me, the easiest way to do it is if you're on LinkedIn, just send me a message. You can go to or you can reach me by email, which is butch@theaardvarkgroup.com. And that said, I want to thank the Aardvark Group for sponsoring our show today. And we'll be back here next week at 10 o'clock on Friday. And you can see us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. And I want to just wrap up with this. What I started with was sales changes, but people don't. And whatever generation we're in, whatever we're selling, we have to meet the buyer where they are, not where we wish they were. So thanks for being here today. Thanks again, Kate. And we'll see y'all next week.
Have a good week, everybody.